content repurposing so that you can attack multiple platforms at once instead of just one platform at a time. Now, one of the most common problems content creators have, now this is something that people struggle with across all skill levels, whether they're beginner, intermediate, advanced, every guru that you look up to you people in CPP, we all struggle with coming up with ideas sometimes. Now, one of the best resources that I use to help me ideate content is ChatGPT. I know AI is somewhat controversial for some reason. Some people like it, some people don't. I just use it as a research tool or something to answer questions or something to help me generate ideas. And that's what we're going to start with today. So hopefully you can see this okay. Trying to zoom in a little bit, but there we go. So I was talking to one of my one-on-one clients the other day, and he was having a problem coming up with ideas for Twitter threads. So I went in here as an example, and I asked ChatGPT, I'm a fitness coach who posts long-form content on social media to help my audience lose weight, build muscle, and live healthier lives. Please give me 20 compelling ideas for article titles. Now, I use article titles in place of Twitter threads because maybe ChatGPT doesn't really know what a Twitter thread is, right? But a Twitter thread is just one form of medium to long form content, similar to an email newsletter or a blog article, right? So I feel like a blog article is something that ChatGPT understands, so it understands what an article is like. So as you can see, it gave me a list of 20 compelling article titles. But the thing about Twitter is that the threads that work, trying to figure out how to articulate this clearly, the threads that work best tend to be listicle style threads. So if you've ever been on BuzzFeed or anything like that, then you've seen articles that are like, 10 essential foods, 7 effective strategies, 15 healthy stacks. There are a number of things. There are a number of things to help you achieve a goal. Okay. So that's what I did here. I rephrased my question a little bit and I said, give me 20 compelling ideas for listicle style articles. And that's what it did. So if you're a fitness coach, these are excellent ideas for you to start fleshing out a Twitter thread, right? Then I asked it to update the above list but make it sound more interesting, and it did. So you can kind of use this. You can make it, sound more interesting, sound more sciencey, sound younger, make them sound like something that, I don't know, Liver King would write. I don't know if it knows who Liver King is, but you get the point. It's pretty flexible. So you can ask it to change these up to fit whatever tone you want. You can make it sound more masculine. You can make it tailored to women, whatever you want to do. And then if you don't like what it did, you can ask it to go back to the previous version, right? So you see, if you look at this list after I asked it to make it sound more interesting, and then this list, well, these are each the same. It turned 10 essential foods for weight loss and muscle gain into 10 mouth-watering foods that torch fat and build lean muscle. So what it's trying to do here when it makes it sound more interesting is it's just spicing up the language a little bit. And that could work for you, right? But again, you can ask it to make it sound more sciencey, make it sound more technical, make it sound more clickbaity, something like that. And then you can just ask it to switch back if you don't like what it did. And then another great thing is you can ask it to give you 15 more ideas, right? So you can literally just sit here and ask ChatGPT to give you more ideas, and then you could have 100 thread ideas in less than 5 minutes. And then you can start, make those sound more sciencey. See? Now, as a science-based content creator myself, I would be talking about physiology, biochemistry, neuroscience, dynamics, stuff like that. As a caveat, you don't necessarily want to get too technical. You don't want to use too much jargon, stuff like that. But it can be good to talk about those things because it shows your authority and things like that. So let me see. Now, something I like to do, drag this over here. A lot of people ask me, how have I written 500 plus threads over the past year? They ask me how I do that. So here's the hack for writing threads super quickly. Let's do this for myself. I am a performance productivity coach who posts content on social media to help my entrepreneurial audience work faster, save time, and be more efficient. Please give me 20 compelling ideas for listicle style articles. Okay, so these are pretty good. Please make those sound more sciencey. Use psychology or neuroscience terms. Okay. So as you can see, these are pretty verbose, but that's fine for now. So let's do, let me see, thinking. Let's do psychological productivity hacks. Okay. So that's going to be the thread that we're going to write. So I'll paste this over here. Now, let's expand this out. Let's go back to our prompt up here. I am writing an article about please give me at least 5 tips I can give my readers in my article. Please give me more. Now you want to say please when you're using AI because one day when the singularity happens and the robots take over, you want them to remember that we were nice to them. Okay, so these are like pretty good. So what I would do is say hook, lead, points, summary, CTA. So this is the anatomy of a Twitter thread. So the hook, that's the first tweet. The lead generally gives more context, statistics, makes people care more. Then the points, that's pretty self-explanatory. Summary will be self-explanatory. So for the points, let's say I'm going to do let's see. Let's just say 5 psychology-based productivity will unleash your brain's potential for peak performance. Okay, that's not a great hook. It's kind of cheesy, to be honest, but I like the alliteration because there's a lot of P's in here. But anyway, I don't know if I'd have a lead in here. I could say something about, potentially talk about how So your psychology is how your mind works. Learn to work with it rather than against it. And then I get into the points. Okay, so for the points, let's say, I'm going to do 5. Now you're probably wondering, why am I typing these X's in parentheses? Well, we'll get back to that in a second. So let's use the Zeigarnik effect. Try the 2-minute rule. Okay, so let's say that these are going to be the 5 points of my thread. So this is why I put X's up here. Because one of the things that I make sure to do in all the threads that I write for myself and my clients is, in the summary tweet, I always have the points in ascending order of length, which means that it starts with the shortest one and it ends with the longest one, okay? Why? Well, that's because what's going to happen is this right here. This is our summary tweet. Okay? That's our summary tweet. Now, why do you even have a summary tweet? Well, if you go look at any listicle style thread like this, I guarantee you the most retweeted tweets in that thread are going to be the hook, which is the first tweet, and then the summary tweet, which would be this. The summary tweet is going to have a lot of retweets. Well, why? Because people love lists. They love them, and they will often retweet them. So when you have a listicle style thread, you want to have a summary tweet that looks like this, because it's going to get you more retweets and it's going to get you more visibility on your thread. Okay? So we got that. Now, because I just copied and pasted that down here, now I can start building out my points. Generally, you want each of the points of your thread to be 1 tweet. You can do 2, just don't make your threads super long. Like, try to make your threads, around 10 to 15 tweets. If you have 5 or less, or I'd say less than 5 points, then I recommend making each point 2 or more tweets, just so that the thread does get, long enough. Because you don't want to have a thread that's like 4 tweets. That's not a very good thread. But yeah, so we're going to have 1 tweet per point here. So look at what we've done already. In less than 10 minutes, we have chosen a topic. We've written a decent hook. We brainstormed a lead. We may not even use the lead here. We have our points, and they're organized in the order of length. And then we have our summary written already. And then a CTA is as simple as, thank you for reading. Please retweet the first tweet below to help another person. Follow me more on productivity, business, and cats. And this tweet thing, that when you put this in Tweet Hunter, it links to the first tweet of the thread. So we've written our CTA, we've written our summary, we have a pretty good hook, we're not sure if we're using the lead, and we already have our points. So all we have to do is now write these 5, write the tweets for these points, and that's it. That took less than 10 minutes. So this is a system that you can use to save yourself a ton of time. Okay? So with this, we aren't going to fully do this, but with this, you could ask it, how please explain how developing a growth mindset will improve my productivity and performance. So this is going to give you information. Again, the way that I think about ChatGPT and the way that I suggest you do too is asking it questions and doing research and expanding on things. Okay? So you can, read through this stuff. I know it's a lot, but you can read through it and use that to start fleshing out your points here. Now, you've written a Twitter thread. Once you did all that, you wrote the thread, you posted it, it went well, it got good engagement. But let's say you want to also post on Instagram or LinkedIn or Threads or MySpace or something like that. Well, another mistake that I often see is people think they need to make new, unique content for every different platform. So they wind up completely overwhelming themselves. That's not how it works at all. Repurposing content is a huge part of the game. It's a huge part of being a successful and efficient content creator. So how you're going to do that is you're going to go into Canva. I will link this template so that you can copy it. So I don't think you need a paid Canva account, so you should be able to do this for free. So I will link this template, that way you don't have to create your own. But what you want to do is you want to grab your profile picture from your profile, obviously. Click on it, save it. The thing is, when you download it, it's not going to be circular like this. It's going to be square. So you want to go to this tool that I'll link over here, or I'll link in the description. You want to go there and you want to crop it into a circle because you want to paste it in here. So you can see that these elements are grouped. I'm going to ungroup them. So you want to replace where my profile picture is with yours. And then you can also change your name, change your @ to whatever your @ is, right? And then once you've done that, once you've replaced all of these with your information, group them together. Because what you can do now is, since they're grouped together, you can copy that, Control-C, and you can paste it with Control-V. And then what you're going to do with that is, go through and, paste it into here. So you're going to replace this group here. Hopefully that makes sense. But basically you want this to be your profile picture, name, and screen name. And then do it here. And then you can just delete these other slides, right? And then duplicate this one. So this one looks different than these because this is your hook slide. And the font's a little bit bigger. It's just easier to read. And then the rest of these look the same. So you have your information way up here. That's static, that stays in the same place. And yeah, pretty straightforward. So then what you want to do is, when you have your thread written, let's say this is our thread. So I go in here, Control-A or Command-A. Then I would do Command-Shift-V. Always do Command-Shift-V when you're copy and pasting into Canva, because if you don't, let's say like in a tweet you have, better example, hang on. Let's say we have this summary tweet here, right? So Command-C. Let's say I'm going to post or paste this into here, so Command-V. Well, it did maintain the formatting. Sometimes it won't maintain the formatting, so this would all be on one line and it looks stupid. But it actually maintained the formatting here, so disregard that, I guess. But to paste without formatting, you can do Command-Shift-V. Sometimes you need to do that when you're pasting into Canva. Anyway, so you would put in your hook, go in here, make it center. So you want to grab all this stuff, make it centered. And then you want to, go in, say you have another tweet. You want to go in, paste it in here, paste the third tweet in here, fourth tweet in here, all the way down to your summary tweet, right? If you have room for it. Now, what do I mean by if you have room for it? The thing is that on Instagram, you can only have 10 images per post, right? So when you're going to post something from Twitter and make, images of it in Canva and then export it, you want to make sure that it's 10 images or less. So sometimes you have to take stuff out of your thread. Sometimes you have to combine, 2 or more tweets into one image. It's totally fine. It just has to be 10 images or less. So if you have a thread that's like 15 points, then what I would advise you do is split up the thread so that you make one Instagram post that's 7 of those points, and then another Instagram post that's 8 of those points, right? So anyway, once you've got all that done, so you've gotten the text of your Twitter thread here into this template, everything looks good. You want to go up here to share, download, PNG. It's all settings the way they are. Hit download, and then that's going to download all of these slides as a zip file containing images. Then you can go to Instagram and you can create a post, select them, open up your downloads folder and post them, or select the images, upload them, write your caption, post it, and you're good to go. As you can see, I'm not very consistent with Instagram. Dakota Robertson does a really good job of this stuff, so I recommend checking out his profile. And then Dan Coe is also really good at this stuff as well. So I'll put links to their profiles in the description of this, but I recommend checking them out. So going back to this, you can also export the same file as a PDF. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, that's because you can post that on LinkedIn. So you go over here, you go to create a post, click these dots, click on add a document, click on choose file, and then this is what we just exported, and it will upload. You can add a title to it, which you should do. And then this will create a LinkedIn carousel. And these perform really well because people like the visual element of it. So you can post that, or you can just, you can just do done. Then you can add a description and then click post. So what you've done there is you have generated a ton of ideas for long form content, meaning Twitter threads. You have started writing those Twitter threads, and then you have a template where you can put those turn those Twitter threads into Instagram carousels and LinkedIn carousels. So with this system, you're able to create content for 3 platforms, but of course you can also copy and paste your content from Twitter over to Threads if you're using that app. You can use your threads as a basis for your email newsletters if you're doing the newsletter style of emails. And then you can also use these as the basis for YouTube videos. So hopefully this video has been helpful. I know it's a lot of information in a short amount of time, so please ask me if you have any questions. You can message in this channel or just reach out to me directly and ask any questions you have. And you may need to go back and, follow. I recommend following along with this video because it was, a lot of information. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Good luck on your content creation journey, and I look forward to seeing what you create.